Hey yo, good evening, afternoon, morning, depending where you are in the world. I'm your host, Tyler, and welcome to the channel that brings you the content usually under 10 minutes, and sometimes that content doesn't sit well. We're like a drive-through for crypto content, which keeps on giving, even after digested. Does that mean we're the Taco Bell of crypto? It's time for Chico Crypto. I must say, over the past 2 months or so, the movement of the Bitcoin price is actually hilarious, and the manipulation is downright obvious. The run up to nearly 14K 2 months ago was an epic reckoning of the shorts. Bitcoin pumped throughout the months of June from around 7,500 to nearly 14,000, almost a 2x. And on BitMEX, in that same period of time of just a month, $1.137 billion in long contracts got liquidated. Since that peak, the price has been going up, then down, with pumps or dumps that have ranged from 5% to once in a while near 10% in just one trade, which happens in a flash. Zooming in on the past couple of days, this has happened more than a couple times, with the most recent one being a pump from 10,100 to 10,500. Like that. And what do you think one of the top posts on our cryptocurrency was? 52 million worth of shorts liquidated at BitMEX. It's literally starting to feel like every other day there is this type of post, between 50 to 100 million in shorts or longs being liquidated on BitMEX. Those $500 candles, which have been extremely common over the past 2 months, always reek of BitMEX manipulation. Don't worry, Arthur Hayes, I'm not suggesting anything shady about an offshore casino. I just had to ban users in Hong Kong, Bermuda, and Seychelles from accessing the site due to regulatory concerns. And guess where BitMEX is registered? In one of the countries they had to ban users from. Just look at their website. BitMEX and the mobile apps issued under BMEX are wholly owned and operated by HDR Global Trading Limited, a Republic of Seychelles incorporated entity. Now, does that make sense? Seychelles citizens can't use BitMEX, but BitMEX can run their product within the Republic? And if you go to the Seychelles Government Business Registry and you try searching for HDR Global Trading, nothing comes up. Although, through some research, the Seychelles government only requires specific types of companies for public registration. But I find it weird that there is no way to actually confirm that BitMEX is registered in Seychelles. The game for Arthur and BitMEX may be coming to an end, as on July 19th, it was announced that the CFTC was probing BitMEX for allowing Americans to trade on the platform. What's funny is on July 3rd, just before the announcement, Arthur had a debate with American economist Nouriel Roubini called The Tangle in Taipei. In the debate, they covered crypto exchange regulations, and Arthur said about his exchange, it makes 100 times leverage. So what? He continued, I don't want to force anyone to use BitMEX. We just have a website and don't do any marketing. Somehow a few thousand people have found a little oasis and started trading. Roubini thinks New York DFS and New York AG is the only game in town. Then asked by Andrew Neil, who hosted the debate, whether the regulatory authorities in the US or the UK and the Seychelles are slightly different in scale. Arthur replied, it just costs more money to bribe them. Well, it seems like Arthur directly called out the US government, and they responded with a probe. Not the brightest of moves, but maybe that is why Arthur has been posting tweets of what looks like him either on the run or trying to travel and live out the best of his last few days as a free man. On July 31st, I traded in a yacht for the jungle. See y'all in September. Then his next and last post was on August 8th, in a mountain area, leaning back without a care in the world, saying, you can hate me now, but I won't stop now. This behavior hasn't been sitting well with the users of the exchange, as in the month of July, BitMEX topped out in over $500 million of outflows from the exchange, the largest in its history, never before exceeding 100 million in a month. What's going to happen to BitMEX in the coming weeks or months, it's tough to say, but if the end is near, I would expect to see many more $500 to $1,000 red and green candles. And then eventually a freeze of assets is placed on the exchange and Arthur, and then the courts decide their fate. Speaking of regulations and freezes of assets, things sure are heating up throughout the altcoin ICO space. 2 weeks ago, the SEC filed an emergency action against the organizer of the $15 million Veritaseum ICO, Reggie Middleton. According to the documents, Middleton conducted a fraudulent and illegal ICO in 2017 and manipulated the security's value afterward. Of course, the price of VERI got crushed because of the news. But Reggie and VERI were not going down without a fight. They motioned for the court to lift the freeze, filing an opposition for the preliminary injunction. And yesterday, the price of Veritaseum pumped out of nowhere, up 50%. Did VERI win the opposition and the assets would be free? Nope, the complete opposite. According to the documents, the preliminary injunction against the defendants is granted, and the preliminary injunction hearing is scheduled for August 26, yesterday. Further down in the documents, we see the frozen accounts, 19 bank accounts, and 25 different Ethereum addresses, and 9 different Bitcoin addresses. So it looks like a whale, an insider who knew about the decision, decided to pull off the old pump and dump before this coin dries up and eventually goes to zero. And that could have been Reggie and the Veritaseum team themselves. Well, viewers, it's the Wild West, but the world powers who consider themselves the sheriffs of the world are starting to come down big time on those who didn't play by the established rules. It's a tough question to answer. Should crypto have regulations? I mean, your average consumer does need the protection because they do consistently fall for scams. But at the same time, shouldn't we just let Darwinism take over, where the strongest, smartest, and those who adapt survive? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if I like your view, I'll pin your comment to the top. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.